Hello guys, welcome back. It's Logical as always, and yes, you're going to see something very weird happening here in a minute. Obviously, you can see I'm running Chimera with Idrisil. To explain this to everybody real quick, is the fact that for as good as Crix is, it has its weaknesses. But taking that into consideration, I really did want to bring up Chimera and particularly anti-heal, because you'll see throughout this video that there's only one character in their team that does actually build anti-heal, and he's the one that actually ends up doing the most damage to me in general. But it does demonstrate that there's a reason why anti-heal is a thing in the game, because if you don't build it, the likes of Chimera, Boris, and other healers will walk over you. And that's a big thing that I wanted to bring up. So it is, because in this video, you will see me not building healing like the standard Chimera, like every Chimera build. I do pick up one of the items because whenever I was doing this here, right, before I get into that there, this steel has built anti-heal. So he has, and because he has built anti-heal, I think it's the physical armor anti-heal item. Can't remember Tainted Guard, I believe it's called. And because he has Tainted Guard on, I can't actually box him properly. But simply having Idrisil on allows me to survive engagements I otherwise shouldn't, which is remarkable to state. So it is. Because of Idrisil, I was able to survive altercations that I really should not have been able to. Taking that into consideration is the fact that you also have to remember that Chimera has inherent health regen, and you always have to remember this here is the fact that if you don't put down a Chimera, it's not going to be long before he heals his way back up again, and he's going to proceed to tear through your team. This is why anti-heal is a proper thing to build. So it is, because again, there's altercations that I have a tendency of diving headfirst into that I well and truly should not be diving into, and surviving because of the healing and Idrisil. Bearing in mind, Idrisil is armor. So it is, but I'm getting myself into altercations that I otherwise should not be. But this is the best way, right? So watch this fight here, right? Steel does have Tainted Guard on at this stage, and watch as my health regen, right? Because not only is my health regen hindered, thanks to Tainted Guard, I'm also taking on a bleed from Tainted Guard, and Steel is genuinely starting to outbox me here. And that is a big thing. If Steel, like, don't get me wrong, Steel did get ganked and ganked hard, but it stands to reason to why anti-heal is such an important thing. So it is. You'll always notice whenever I'm playing Predecessors, I always normally tend to pick up anti-heal second item. There is a reason for this. It is simply to deal with the likes of a Chimera, a heavy heal Murdoch, a heavy heal anybody, because there is healing in a lot of different ways. Crunch tends to build Draconium, so does Grooks. People do use this here as a method of healing. And the thing is, though, is the fact that anti-heal is a substantially good thing. Again, a lot of people will say, oh, but healing's too strong anyway, and anti-heal doesn't do anything. I actually do believe that that is actually incorrect, because there's a lot of anti-heal items that are actually incredibly powerful depending on what you're using them for. The first thing that comes to mind is Tainted Rounds, is immediately the first thing. Tainted Blade's not as good, or Trident, but Tainted Rounds, Tainted Guard, I think it's called Tainted Bastion, is the magical armor variant. I don't believe it's as good. But I am taking hits that should be. I am getting into altercations that should be the death of me. But I'm being pretty smart about it. I'm shrugging off most damage. Again, though, what you are going to see is me not running the standard Draconium. No, I'm going into Fire Blossom because I'm looking to be in the middle of a fight to tank as much damage as possible. That's how I now build my Chimera, because having a damaging Chimera doesn't help if you can't get glued to them long enough, which is a substantial issue. The Idrisil passives that I'm also running is the attack speed reduction, which also helps you because DPS beats tanks, as well as the slowing effect if you basic attack them. This will be the one time I do get actually demoed in this fight, and there is a good reason why. Now, so, the statement that I initially made was actually incorrect. I blamed me getting deleted here on the fact that Iggy and Scorch was here and the magic damage demoed me. No, What caused me to die here was the fact that Steel has tainted guard on. This means that my healing is hindered, I've taken on a bleed, and I've got Iggy and Scorch bombarding me with dots. This is the reason why I died, not what I'm about to actually say. But I'm pretty sure in reference you can probably understand that I was wrong. And yeah, I'm only after watching this back that yes, this is why I died. It's because I didn't have anti-heal, or I didn't have, well, one healing and Steel has anti-heal. This is how you defeat Chimera. It's not because of anti-heal, it is purely based on the magic damage side of things. There's both Steel and Iggy and Scorch. That is pure magic damage. You can see I'm looking for magical damage or magical defense. Funnily enough, the one key item is Void Helmet, and that cures my issue. Again, getting into altercations that I really shouldn't be. I am slap bang in the middle of this, but I do have magical defense online, so I'm more than happy to jump into this here and get into a scrap. Because I can. And this is a major factor that I always have to bring up, is the fact that if you're not building anti-heal, you are limiting your damage output against any form of healer. Now again, you will also see something later on. I get demoed here as well, but that is primarily because I get caught in a 2v1 and I'm not building anti-crit. Because again, that's situational at best. So it is. But yes, Iggy demoed me earlier in the fight and now he can barely hurt me. So not only did Iggy demo me earlier in the fight, now he can't even scratch me. So he can't. And that is a massive point that I have to make. Again, what is anybody going to do? Again, I'm getting demoed again, and they can't do anything. Can you guess why? The only person in their team that has actual anti-heal built in, or anti-heal built, is Steel. So not one of them was able to actually curb the stomp that was coming to them. And this is why anti-heal is bloody needed. Again, another major factor is if there's a countess on their team. But I do genuinely just want to take a very quick look at how everybody is built, because we have a massive issue incoming, right? Bale has built Curse Scroll, Steel has built Tainted Guard, Yuri, no anti-heal, Iggy, no anti-heal, Richter, no anti-heal, and Murdoch, no anti-heal. And that's a major issue, because then that just basically means I've got free lanes. So I do. Steel's the only one that poses a threat to me, and he did pose a threat to me. But again, if you do not build anti-heal, there are ramifications to it, because you also have to remember that there is also the Warrior's Crest as well as the Archer's or the Carry Crest, which both have either Lifesteal or Omnivamp on them. So again, regardless to what anybody believes, anti-heal works. So we looked at it from the point of Chimera, so let's flip the coin and do offlane. Now, here's the thing though, Chimera isn't the only healer in their team, are they? No, they've both got a Morn and Countess as well, and I will be the first to admit that I heavily underestimated how much Morn can actually heal. Now again, Countess is quite self-explanatory at that stage, but you really do, I personally heavily underestimated how much Morn's actually able to heal with that tentacle attack and the amount of damage he can actually do, because I will be the first to admit that I got demoed by this Morn at the very start of the game. I will give it full credit, I hadn't really considered building anti-heal early, and because of that there, I got destroyed. But on top of that there, I was building Overlord starting anyway. But it does demonstrate to why Morn, or well, I underestimated Morn because of that there, and the fact that he does have he does have one ability that heals him, but it's the fact that that one ability can heal him up a good amount. Plus he also, I think, ended up building Fist of Razul as well. Now at this stage I do have anti-heal and their Countess has DC'd, so I do spend a lot of time just me and Morn just farming lane. We're not trying to fight each other. We're just having a bit of fun. So here, he was good sport for it too. I'll not lie. He was good sport. But I've got anti-heal built. There is a Chimera in my lane. So let's see how badly Chimera faces against somebody who has actually built anti-heal. Now, again, I am chipping at him, and Kai can't do shit. Do you see what I mean here? Now, again, you could notch it down to the level difference as well, or what I'm building, but it's a simple factor of I have anti-heal, and he is built very silly. So he has. But there's a major point that I do have to bring up, is the fact that building is exactly what you need it to be. Again, Kai just jumps on me. I'm 3 levels above him. I don't care all that much. Kai's actually scared of trying to fight me, so he is. He knows that he got demoed the last time he tried to fight me, and now he's trying to do the same thing again. But I'm not scared of him. It's more just down to the fact that there's 3 of them in my goddamn lane. And now Countess is a 4th, so it took 4 people just to try and put me down. It took 4 people. So it did, just to put me down, and that's all over the head of some simple anti-heal. So it is. And that's the devastating part that I have to bring up, is the fact that anti-heal is genuinely devastating against Chimera, as well as other characters. Kai's on me again, 3 level difference, but Kai isn't building very smart. Tries to run away, Faye goes for the backup, but I'm not scared of him because you're not healing, Kai. You're doing more damage to yourself just by trying to box me. And this is a major factor in all of this, so it is. That's the kind of information that I need people to understand, is the fact that Kai, you see, the second you inhibit Kai's ability to heal, Kai can't do anything anymore. So he can't. Kai gets shut down by anti-heal, same as Boris, Countess. The second you build anti-heal, you do effectively neutralize them. So you do, and that is a major factor, because whenever you take a look at the actual end screen of this match, you'll understand why anti-heal is actually really important to build. Again, I will be the first to admit that I do make the odd mistakes every now and then. Again, I'm just sitting having fun. But you can see how much effort they're putting in just to try to put me down. Like, that's absurd levels of actual unnecessariness. Well, Tar killed me. Like, the fact, like, you see the amount of effort they're putting in to try and get me down, and I'm not building obnoxiously. Actually, I kind of am. Fister was a bit of a stretch in terms of build idea. It's just a good thing I didn't go Curse Scroll, but I was going Remnant of Renewal at the end, which was kind of funny. I could have built more armor, but the idea still stands that, again, anti-heal shuts down everything that Kai, Countess and Morn can do, because look at their builds. Drongo has anti-heal, Iggy and Scorch has anti-heal, and you wonder why Chimera can't do anything, because Chimera can't get glued to anybody long enough to make him a threat. And that's a big thing. Like, again, I treat Chimera. There's Chimera down again by friggin' Drongo. I treat Chimera like, especially if I've got anti-heal build, Chimera's not dangerous. He doesn't have. What makes Chimera dangerous is his sustained output. But if you cripple that, he can't do anything. Unlike Boris or Countess, who actually has burst damage behind them. But whenever you take a look at the builds, you'll see where everybody has anti-heal built and who doesn't have anti-heal built. But the thing is, though, is the fact that Drongo has anti-heal, Iggy and Scorch has anti-heal, I have anti-heal. Kalari doesn't need it because she has the burst damage. Richter doesn't need it because he's building tank and sustain. But look at their team. Countess built anti-heal 3 items in, whenever she should have built its 2nd item due to the fact that Iggy and Scorch has Orb of Growth. End of story. Where's Chimera's anti-heal? Where's Morn's anti-heal? Where's Faye's anti-heal? Where's Legion's anti-heal? Because, and look at what Legion has built. Legion has built that scepter that boosts your ultimate damage and heals you for the damage that they do. Legion does have anti-heal, but it's the fact that it's the 5th item. Do you see where the issue is? You build, look at the difference between Drongo and Legion, and see where the stark difference comes from. Is the fact that he built his anti-heal a hell of a lot earlier than Legion did. And that's a major issue. Countess built anti-heal 3rd item, not good enough. Especially against the Negian squad, you want anti-heal on pretty damn sweet, because he is building Orb of Growth 9 times out of 10, which makes him inherently dangerous. And that's what I'm trying to say here, is the fact that if you look at what happened this Chimera versus what I did with my Chimera, you can see the difference off rip. Now, mind you, the addition of Berserker's Axe was not the smartest option, because Berserker's Axe is not as good as it used to be. But regardless of that, you can see where the stark difference is in where people are building their anti-heal. You can see how little people actually value their anti-heal. Unlike most other people, I value my anti-heal at least as much as close to being as my second item as possible. Especially if you have a team of stacked healers, Countess, Kai, Morn. There are more, like you've got Bale with Cursed Scroll, you've got Grooks with Draconium, even just Grooks' natural healing as well. There's a few other ones that just aren't coming to mind. Severog's another one with his Siphon. There are plenty of characters that come with some form of healing, and because they have some form of healing, anti-heal will always have a place. So what I do recommend to most people is to build anti-heal at minimum second to third item. That's whenever it's going to be needed the most, especially if you're up against people that have built healing. Sereth with Draconium as well can get massive burst heals. Don't risk it. If you don't value lifesteal, okay, or if you don't value anti-heal, fine. But just be warned, if you get slaughtered, don't blame the game. It's a lack of knowledge. I'm making this video because of that lack of knowledge. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe if you didn't enjoy. And remember guys, not everything goes to plan. Bye!